The views and opinions expressed in Media Litter Sandwich do not reflect on the views of the network, station, studio, website, sponsors, guests, hosts themselves, anyone or anything else associated or even not associated with this podcast. Maybe not even the person that said them. In other words, do your own research and do not sue anyone over what is said on this show.
What's your favorite veteran or war movie, something like that?
It'd be Rambo.
For me, it would be Private Ryan.
Oh, it's Range 15, obviously. I mean, that's the best.
Okay.
Welcome to Media Litter Sandwich. Today I have with me a couple of vets. We're talking about art because, what do you do when you're sitting around vets other than paint pretty pictures? And if you want to be the first person to listen to us, the first show is airing on DV Radio every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 1900, because Bo likes me when I say that. And, so that's 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on dvradio.net. And I should be in the chat room if I'm not walking to my car at the time, but I'm probably in the chat room. Hi, Toad in the chat room. So you guys just started a new program at which studios?
It'll be Art Studio 1219 up in Port Huron.
1219 in Port Huron. So what is that? What's the studio?
It's a 501c nonprofit art studio that specializes in early to mid-career artists specifically. Mm-hmm. And our whole goal is to teach our artists the business of art. How to teach them. Wow, words are hard.
Yeah. So it's not exactly teaching how to paint, but it's the business side of things. What are you selling? How are you going to sell it? Putting things into show, getting eyes on it.
Well, teaching art is one of the things that we do. But
okay.
What we primarily like to do is take our artists, members that we have, and transition them from it being sort of almost like a hobby into something they could do to legitimately earn money
into a business, because
exactly.
That's what it is. That's the one part of being an artist, whether it's a filmmaker or comic books person or painting or whatever, that people hate is oh great, now I'm a business. I thought I was just going to make stuff and have fun or write scripts or something. I didn't know I actually had to work. What's that?
Exactly. It's just basically the process of taking what could be a hobby mm-hmm. into a career, mm-hmm. Something that you'll be able to support yourself off of. We do that through, we have what are called artist talks there, mm-hmm. and it's just established artists in the local area that come through and they talk to people about things like, how to price your art, mm-hmm. how to talk about your art is another one that we just recently did that had a really good turnout.
Yeah, because that's a hard one, because
mm-hmm.
people often don't believe they deserve to be where they are, whether it's on a show or in an auction house or whatever it may be. People don't feel like they belong there.
Exactly. And it's hard, particularly for something like art, because it's a very personal thing. You know mm-hmm. what I mean? Like, nobody's making paintings that doesn't have feeling. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point in art, is to evoke a feeling.
Not even stick figures? You're saying that's feeling?
So, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it. If they're very, very emotive stick figures, I'd say you're probably right.
Okay.
But like stick figures that I draw, nothing.
It's still a self-expression at the simplistic level. It
mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what it is. If you're willing to be vulnerable and put it out on paper, you're still creating something. And that's the way I always look at it. It doesn't matter if you're good, bad, what. I think all those terms are irrelevant. But you dare to put something out there for people to criticize, or just opened yourself up.
But is that a good place to start, or is any place a good start?
Well, I think for me personally, I think like even when these classes that are going to be offered to vets, is to inspire them. It's to draw them out of their comfort zone, to give them a chance to release maybe built up emotion or tension. And I think that's what art is about. The greatest artists of all time, they broke the molds by, we're not going to do the status quo. We're not going to go by something that's been instructed to us. We have to do it this way. No, they went on their own. And that's the artist we remember today, Picasso and whatnot.
And taking a step back, so these are free classes for veterans.
That's correct.
Okay. And just taking another step back, Rick, do you mind tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, I was in the Army and I was a first Persian Gulf War veteran. I started using years ago. I started doing what's called pouring. Basically, anybody that has no artistic ability at all, pouring allows you to really come out with a great product at the end. You just basically, it looks like marbling. I started doing that, and
It's just literally just pouring paint on the canvas.
yeah, and work in manipulating it by how you hold the canvas.
I'm a Marine. I understand that. I could figure paint. That's
right.
great.
Hey,
Just
there's
melt down
nothing
some
wrong.
crayons, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And
Oh, those are beautiful. The meltdown crayon art. Just watching people do that is relaxing. I don't know why.
no one said that a brush is the only tool that you use to create art. I mean, there's people out there that use toothbrushes, so that's okay with me. Just use whatever you want, and as long as you're just challenging yourself to create, and that's where I'm all about. And I started using it for art as just a release for myself, and I do run into that self-critical. There's people better and stuff like that, but then I reel it in, and the purpose of it is far more valuable than anybody could ever pay me. What I get out of it, that release, and then you're mind boggled that wow, that came out of me. You know what I mean? To see it instead of just feel it, but you're actually seeing emotion.
Yeah.
And because I'm an abstract artist, and
So you have the perfect, when someone says, I don't feel like I belong here, you have the perfect response. You're like, I literally pour paint on a canvas. Now, people can't create what I create because, you take your time, you've had time and you've had experience at it, and you have kind of an idea. Obviously, someone first time just throwing paint on canvas isn't going to get what you're getting.
right.
But you're like, I literally throw paint on a canvas.
Yeah.
And I'm here. You deserve to be here.
Yeah, that's where I started at, and you know what? I'm not an artist that uses a brush. I use trowels. I use straws. I used to go to flea.
Wait, are we talking plastic straws or paper straws
Anything.
or wheat straws? I mean, like, what part of the environment friendly are we being? I'm joking.
No,
not.
it doesn't matter. Whatever,
100% bamboo.
whatever. I used to go to flea markets and just find really odd shaped things, metal, whatever. It didn't matter that I could apply paint with, just to give a different texture, a different look. And it just, you start to look at things differently. You're like, wow, I could use that to apply paint to my canvas. And it would give it a
one
different
day
effect.
you're at the gym and you decide to throw on some boxing gloves and you're like, wait a second, throw paint on, start hitting the wall.
Well,
I'm working on a mural.
The only thing stopping you is yourself.
That's right.
Yeah. That's just as much art as anything else.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I took I have a bachelor's degree, but I didn't. I took art history in college for my electives, and what I learned is, prior to photography and that art documented history and stuff. But once photography came along, it allowed artists just to do what they wanted to do. And then you had impressionism, expressionism, cubism, stuff like that came along. And people would just be able to paint what they felt. You know what I mean? They were no more tied down to doing portraits or landscapes or anything like that. And then that's where we see bold colors and stuff like that. And people look at like art and they say, they might look at an abstract painting and it might be titled blue, but there might not be any blue in there at all. Well, that's because the artist is he wants to invoke your own feelings. He doesn't want to offer you his feelings, or what his interpretation of the painting is. He wants to invoke.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You started it. Zach, you mind telling us a little about your background?
Yeah, I was in the Army for 11 years. I just actually recently got out, and
yeah, I was gonna say your beard's not long enough to have been out that long.
No, I don't have a beard. I just have like a little bit of scruff.
Video version's different than the audio version.
I feel like you're insulting me there.
No, I'm just putting out a statement.
You could Photoshop it in for
Yeah,
him,
that's
though,
what I'm
right?
saying. Yeah,
I mean,
just give
come
me
on,
like a
hook him
whole.
up.
Give me that ZZ Top. That's what I'm looking for.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm working on my wizard right now, but I have a lot more gray in mine.
You know what? You could be Gandalf. It's cool.
Well, hopefully that's wisdom, that gray.
Yeah, I always confuse Gandalf with the other wizard that looks just like the Dumbledore.
Oh, yeah, Dumbledore.
I love talking to people that love Lord of the Rings and refer to him as Dumbledore, and then you talk to Harry Potter fans, you refer to him as Gandalf, and you refer to Hermione as Old Muddy. Oh man, I love the reactions. But tell me a little bit about your art background, because you said you're teaching here, or you're at least working on the program.
I'm helping out with the program. I'm not an artist myself. I just work
okay.
at Art Studio 1219. I got out of the Army and my mom offered me a job there, so I was like, screw it, why not?
Can't complain on that one.
As who might argue with old mom?
There we go. I got people waving.
I think
I told you I'm going to distract you with this fishbowl.
Oh, I gotcha. I don't even call myself an artist, though. I think that's a limited term. It usually puts you in some kind of you've been instructed to do things this way, and I don't think it's. I think everyone can create, and I think that's what it's about.
I always thought first you learn the rules, at least some sort of rule, so you have something to grasp onto, and then you can kind of come away from that and do things on your own. But when in doubt, you have some sort of solid ground, unless you're just throwing paint at a canvas.
I think especially with probably I know with me being a veteran in that I tried to take, even though I have a bachelor's degree, many years ago I got it, but I tried taking instructional art classes, and I just could not retain it. Just what I deal with, and so I think that's what we want to offer to these veterans that are coming to these classes. It's not instruction that we're giving necessarily. What we're doing is helping them get to the next level, because what they're offering is not a class in, say, like acrylics or oil or pastels. What it's doing is saying, hey veteran, what do you want to work on? What do you want to do yourself personally? And we'll help you get to the next level.
It's more of a workshop.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's what you want to do. It's not, we're not there to instruct you, to tell you got to do it this way. No, that's not what it is.
It defeats the whole purpose in art doing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and working in a studio with other people, knowing that it's a workshop where you can talk to them and get other insight. That's a huge thing.
Right.
It's, you can be as shy as you want to, or you can also be like, look, I need help. Someone to help me. And you don't want to use those words, because everyone's just going to be like, well, it looks fine to me.
Like, you'd look like a regular Picasso.
But it's where you can learn, like, what, not this doesn't feel right. You learn why doesn't this feel right?
Exactly. You can learn techniques that are going to help make you better at the style of art that you want to do, as opposed to coming into a class and say, we're going to teach you how to paint a picture of flowers, let's say. Well, not everybody likes painting flowers. Not everybody likes flowers.
Right.
Not everybody likes painting. So the whole point behind this was to get a whole bunch, as many veterans as we can
Right.
in a group, and then just let them go, and then be there for whatever questions or assistance they may need,
And you have guest speakers coming on, and
Yeah, I mean,
it's funny just sitting here. You run into I'm going to butcher his name, but I want to say Tony Vuko, which has paintings and pictures on beer bottles and all over the place, especially at the beautiful Foundation Hotel where we're filming at today in downtown Detroit. We're in the Foundation studio. Forgot to mention that earlier. Always a shout out to those guys. And if you're in the area, check it out because there's nice art around. I know this is your guys' first time in the side of the hotel.
right.
A beautiful hotel.
Yeah.
I think just having the opportunity to create an environment where you're not going to be critiqued. In the instructors, I've been asked to help.
Now, are you an instructor?
Well, I don't even call myself an artist. So I'm a helper.
Okay.
And-
I was wondering because you're like, I can't follow the rules myself. How can I?
well, no. What I
That's when you become an instructor and you learn these things. That's how I learned.
well, we have
started teaching
we
classes.
We have formal instructors, people that have been
Okay.
taught formally. But I'm an intuitive artist, though. So that's where I fall in. And so, and you'll have veterans that want that instruction, which we have those. But then you'll have veterans that are like me, that are more intuitive, that want just the joy of painting. That it doesn't necessarily mean that I need to have the brush strokes the right way or use the right paint or the right. There's going to be ones that just want to use it as a release, and that's what I am.
Okay.
So
It's
we're offering
therapeutic.
both. Right, exactly. We're offering both sides of it.
If people want to show up and they already know what they're doing and they don't want any help from us, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
The point is to get the veterans together
Right.
and get them working on something constructive. Something they've all got the common interest of art, and they're all veterans. The point is to be able to get the community together.
And it takes pressure off because I know you said this is kind of like your first job outside of the military. You and I've been out a little bit. You way longer than me. Yet I have more gray hair. I'm a little upset about that. By the
Well,
way,
at least you have hair. I mean, come on now.
but you get in a workshop, or at least a room full of people, or a classroom, and you relax and start talking, and you realize your attitude is different than other people's attitude. Your way of talking sometimes, your humor is different. Veterans definitely have a darker sense of humor.
Right. But that's the thing. These classes are going to offer something for everybody, different age groups. So, I mean, where else do you get multiple instructors or multiple people wanting to help you? And
Mental institution.
Yeah, right, exactly. but
You give me a challenge, I'm gonna come up with an answer.
well, it might be we don't require straitjackets in our institution, though.
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're on back order.
That's right. I think the greatest thing about it is I live in Macomb, so I'm gonna go and volunteer my time and stuff to help this cause in Port Huron, because there isn't anything like it for veterans.
Well, there are, but sometimes people throw their own. There's a political thing on it, or
Right.
they're like, this is a free class, but if you want to get an associate's degree,
Right.
you take this class and this class, then you have a certificate, and then you can do this.
Right.
So there are, I see things like that a lot. I've also seen where it's a therapy thing. I've seen a nonprofit organization which I got involved with many years ago, that was doing therapeutic art, and then they had their own political, things that most veterans don't agree with, which was really weird. But not trying to get into that politics side. But they are like, okay, now will you help out with these things? These are our agendas. Really, that doesn't match up with mine.
Right.
A free painting class, and you want to throw all veterans in prison? Deal.
Well,
A veteran art, that organization really doesn't like me anymore. After the first newsletter they sent me, which was actually after they asked me to speak in an organization on their behalf, which was the first week I joined, I knew something was up. Like, I'm like, oh, this looks like good. I want more information. Here, do you mind speaking at this rally? What
rally?
No. Those during Occupy movement. Yeah.
flashes of Forrest Gump started coming in your head.
Yeah. And then the first newsletter, wait, that's anti-Fourth Amendment. That's that's anti-Second Amendment, anti-First Amendment.
Right.
And I'm done with this.
I tried the art therapy class. It was totally just not for me.
Okay.
I tried.
Too much instruction?
Well, it was not that, but I mean, it was guided. It wasn't free flowing. You're right. And to be I guess to be fair, even though I'm more casual with how I paint.
Mm-hmm.
I have been accepted in the shows and stuff. So I am a theme artist of an upcoming show. So I guess I say that in regards to, you can be any type of artist that you want to be, and you can still have some kind of success with it. So you can be the intuitive like I am, or you can be need the instruction, or I think there's possibilities for everybody that wants to create. Everybody, no matter what we do as humans, we're all self-critical.
Now, do you make money off of it, though?
Yes.
Oh, see see, when I talk to filmmakers and a lot of other people, I get the opposite answer. So that's cool.
Well, it's my painting is the theme painting, and it'll be auctioned off.
Okay.
I'm in the.
And was that hard the first time you auctioned off your first painting?
This is first go around for me.
Really?
All this is like new for me, man.
Okay.
I've sold paintings like my pouring when I used to do that. I sold that. I've sold paintings, which was, it's really cool that someone would even want your stuff, So that's kind of
a good feeling.
Yeah.
I've talked to like comic book artists and people say, yeah, I sell prints all the time, but for someone to want the original work, that's something they didn't consider until they didn't have any room to keep any of the original work anymore.
Right. Yeah, because of usually the cost, right? I've been told too, you might want to make some prints. But to me, it's not worth it because a print's not going to give the same effect that I want to. And I'm very fortunate that I'm not doing it for money. I get to do it for the pleasure of art itself.
Keep them and make prints, though, for real.
Really?
Yes.
That's what you're going to make a killing off of prints, man. I keep telling you.
Yeah, because prints, because people want the big painting. Not a lot of people can afford the big painting. Like one thing I started collecting at a lot of the local cons and stuff like that, because I have no place to put even a normal size print. I get the little trading card prints. Oh. So I open up my drawer and I just have all these little trading card prints from all sorts of different people. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy did this. He works on that, and I just have all these little things I could fill up this whole table with, and they don't even take up a shoebox. They take up. They take up half a drawer, if that.
Oh, I gotcha.
Very, very compact, and I could do other things with them. If I do want a larger frame, I could just call them up and get a bigger print. That's all.
That's true. And I do work with larger scale. My stuff's like 48 by 36 and stuff. So you're right. It does take up quite a bit of space. I mean, You're right. I don't really. I guess I really didn't.
We're
think
talking about
it.
the business side of things, you know.
Yeah, the business point of it. Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people lack. A lot of you know, and they say that's the biggest thing that veterans have trouble with when they go into a job interview. How much, negotiating pay. They say that's one of the hardest things for veterans because we don't
never
know.
had to
We
deal with
knew
it.
we were getting paid peanuts when we're in.
Yeah, so
Like, is it enough for me to have a house? Well, if you live in that area over there, sure.
but if you live in this one,
Uh-uh.
Yeah, they don't know how to transfer that skill set.
How do you transfer a bayonet thrust?
Right.
it's just a different form of brushstroke. That's all it is. I mean,
Well, it did require coordination, so that's it's a good starting point. I mean, your general direction. I mean,
it's ultimately what it comes down to is everybody has the ability to do some form of art. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of finding out what your chosen form of art is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like me, I'm not a painter to save my life. Mm-hmm. But I can write.
Right.
What is writing if not another form of art?
Yeah,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? And that's really what it's all about. It's just introducing people that may ultimately have, some sort of experience with art and helping them along the way.
Right.
And
There's so many forms of art, so many forms of writing.
Exactly. It's an incredibly broad subject. When just saying art could mean anything from the building that we're standing in
Yep.
to a Picasso painting to Rick's acrylic pours. It's all art. Movies, that's art. You were talking about comic books earlier. That's art. Designing cars, that's art. It's just a matter of finding.
The college I went to is mostly known for architecture and engineering. The term art is very interesting when people start talking about it.
so you went to Lawrence Tech?
Yes, sir.
Good guess, huh?
I assume you're familiar.
I understand it. My niece went there for architecture.
So you mentioned writing. Is there any writing classes, or is that just
No, this is purely sort of on canvas sort of styles of art. We're going to have somebody named Liz Somerville who works with our CMH, which is the Community Mental Health of St. Clair County. She does our CMH classes, and she also helps out with our art classes a lot. She's a very, very accomplished teacher. And then we're going to have guys like Rick and myself and people just kind of, going around helping people out where they need it, or just standing on the sidelines and letting everybody do their thing.
Okay.
Now,
is this something where people are going to be bringing their own supplies, or be some supplies there?
Everything is provided. It is 100% free to the veteran. So all they got to do is when they show up for it, just bring some form of proof of service.
Well, I heard those Bob Ross knives are kind of expensive.
It's all provided.
Okay.
We've raised enough money through the DAV Post 12 and with help of the VA and just various donors throughout the St. Clair area. It's 100% free. Nobody needs to bring any supplies, nothing. All they got to bring is themselves.
But, who knows? I mean, at some point you could have writing. Right now it's painting, and the next course is going to be ceramics. So it's unlimited possibilities.
Metalsmithing?
You never know.
Not yet.
I mean,
Not yet, but it's something we've talked about.
Okay.
If we're able to take this program and expand on it like we're hoping we can, that's definitely something that we're looking into.
Okay.
Is really any sort of art that we can fit inside of that little building we got.
Yeah, you just have to. I mean, it's available right now, and we just have to have veterans come and want to engage, and I think the camaraderie. It's a safe environment. It's there's. It's free. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, if you go out there and try to buy art supplies, they're not cheap. Paint and
Especially
well,
not
if you do
for-
have to buy them, if you're using Amazon, why not use Smile.Amazon? Because it doesn't cost you anything more, and a little bit goes to a charity of your choice. And Media Layer Sandwich is on DV Radio, so therefore our charity of choice is dvfarm.org. DV Farm is Well, it's a homeless veterans house. It only has maybe 6 beds, but if you want to learn more, go to dvfarm.org. You can learn all about them and their animals there, and you know what? Just go to the Facebook page and watch some of DV6's videos. They're highly entertaining where he remembers what he's talking about, because I don't remember what I'm talking about anymore. So what because you guys are a nonprofit, or the studio is a nonprofit, where do people go to learn more? Because I assume they are still accepting donations or are open to like sponsorships.
Oh, yeah. Studio1219.com has a whole page for donations. And I believe there is actually for the veteran program specific, I believe we have a separate, what's the word I'm looking for? Button? Probably button. Internet button.
Button.
I don't do well.
Donation button.
I don't do well with the internets.
You mind leaning a little bit more on your microphone when you talk?
Oh, yep.
Okay.
See, me and technology, we're not friends.
Oh, you don't listen to instruction either, I see.
That's why I only made it 11 years as opposed to the full 20.
That's right.
I didn't make it that far, so.
Me neither. I did 4, and that was enough. That's for sure. But, I think it's going to be fun just to be amongst other veterans, and you know how vets, I think once you get a group of them, they open up and they'll be helping each other, and you're gonna walk
have
away.
The Air Force guys drawing landscapes. You're gonna have the Army trying to figure out, or you have every engineer and combat engineer using rulers and projectors. You're gonna have the Marines in the corner eating crayons.
Yeah, it'll be a great time.
I say that as a Marine. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if we're going to allow the Marines to have brushes, though. They might have to finger paint. Who knows what they might try to do.
It's a preferred method.
I mean, you guys are taught how to do that in boot camp, right?
That's right.
I've made these jokes while doing one of those, like, painting with a twist, or one of those, places. They just stare at you, and like, you know what? Never mind. I'm just gonna drink more. Well, what? Not that cup. The other cup. That's my wash cup.
Did you find that your painting became better the more you drank?
I'm sure he found that he liked it
longer for
Is that
sure.
what it is?
What was it like? Art class in elementary, middle school, high school. Was there something that you didn't like? Because you're especially saying there was rules, and I hear different things for different artists. Some of them were like, "Oh no, it was great, I loved it." And others like, "Dude, if I never ever touch a crayon in my life ever again, it'll be too soon."
Yeah, like keeping the line. I found I tried to take art in high school, and I found it very, very frustrating because I visually. I'm not a realist. I just don't see things that way. I'm more emotion, and other people could produce it, and I just could not grab it. But they never kind of led me they never went to the direction of abstract or anything like that.
Yeah, because they don't know how to grade it.
Yeah, maybe that's right. There's they didn't.
When you look at experimental art, that's something you don't know how to grade.
I think just to break the inner critic, this is,
it's a big thing. It is.
The example. I'll say
dying's easy. Comedy's hard.
That's true. I mean, a show that I got accepted into, and it was my painting was in my. I'll tell the story. My painting was in my basement, and it was 48 by 36, and I used plaster. I mixed media on it, and I painted it all black, and that's where I was at. I painted it all black, and it was in the basement on the wall, and my wife would walk down there and, I hate that painting. I hate it. Why don't you do something about it? Well, it's kind of interesting. I ended up one day, I went up there and I took it off the wall. I went downstairs and I took it off the wall and I repainted it. And my repaint is the one that became the theme paint of this art show that I got into.
Okay.
And so, but it was interesting because I kept the pictures. I still have the pictures of the black painting in my phone. Took 9 months for that painting to develop what it is today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it took my moods or my way of looking at things were no longer
and
dark.
of course, someone that hated the black painting.
Right, but but I mean, it was like a different part in my life. It seemed like in art shows that, you know what I mean? It shows that maybe you hated the painting one day, but the next day you want to change it, you can paint over it. It's so cool that way. You know, you don't have to show it to anybody. You know what I mean? It's so.
Yeah. And that's something you might still be working on because this is your first show where you're selling things.
Right.
How do you know when you're done with the work, especially when you're talking abstract? How do you know when you are done?
I'm actually, I just can't. I look at it.
I can't stomach it anymore.
No, I don't have any more paint to throw on there, so I have to run to Walmart and grab some.
Smiled on Amazon.
No, I myself, I actually know. So I've been exhausted doing paintings sometimes because you just lay everything out there and you go for it, and I just know that it's done. It's time. It's one of the very few paintings that I've ever went back and redid. I don't. I've thrown away so many paintings.
Oh, don't do that.
Oh, yeah, I have
that.
to. I've had hundreds of them.
Don't do that. You can reuse the canvas at the very least.
But I can't, though.
You can bring them
me
to
as a
Studio 1219 and we'll
yeah,
sell
but me
them
as
for
an
you.
artist, I can't. That's the problem. I am not able to go back, me personally, and cover up what I did and redo it.
I met an artist, and I'm going to call him an artist, but sometimes some of his work, I didn't want to call him that. He found a bunch of canvases being thrown away. He took them, and he just did very light work, enough so he could call them his own.
Oh.
And I thought, it's like I'm like, how much work did you do that one? Oh, I did a couple squiggly lines around there, and I drew a pair of glasses on the person. So other than that, it's not your work. Well, now it is. It's found work that I improvised.
Oh.
You are giving someone else work when you do that for them to claim it on your own. Now that could be a positive thing. Found that is that is a thing.
Oh, it's a very popular form of art.
That's true.
Yeah.
There was that garbage man in McCollum that became a famous artist. So he just had to get it from my house. Huh?
His daily route, it was like going to Walmart.
Yeah,
Or Smile at Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw his paintings all over coffee houses being sold and stuff like that. And it's one of those things where you never know. Just because you don't like something to mean someone else is, or you could rework it. It's just I'm hearing my girlfriend's an artist, and I'm hearing her voices yell at me like, you know how much money that canvas is? I could use that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because I actually found the house I live at right now. I found canvases from, I don't know if they just liked going to these painting with the twist parties or something like that. They were everywhere. I found one in the door. I found one in the bathroom door. The bathroom door had a big hole in it, and I just thought I'd never thought because it had a big hole in it. It dragged when I open it and close it. And my girlfriend's like, I'm telling you, there's a canvas in there. One of those paintings is in there. So one day I just reached inside and I pulled out this dirty painting, and then she took it and repainted it and brought new life to it.
Your house is haunted by the ghost of Van Gogh.
I bet you there's still canvases sitting around, but it's one of those things where you could do something with it.
That's true. I really could. I could donate them too, even, and somebody could put gesso over it and reuse them.
Glitter. glitter bomb everything.
That's true. Or, I was a combat engineer in the Army. You could just blow it up and be done with it. I mean,
Yeah, a little bit of C4.
that's right.
Well, I see
a
you don't do
beautiful
that anymore
piece of
because I
art.
noticed that your fingernails are cut.
Yeah.
I was in an engineer support battalion. I know that. Okay, we're doing training. Why is everyone's nails so long? They get in the C4, dig their nails in it, bring a little bit of it home.
No, I never did anything like that.
You say like with a big smile on your face.
I was afraid. I was afraid.
So what do you want people to get away from this? Or what do you want people to get out of this?
I want a sense of community. I want people to come together with at least, everybody that's going to be showing up has at least two commonalities. They're both,
Right.
Everybody that's showing up is a vet, and everybody that's showing up has some form of interest in art. So maybe those people get together and they start producing an entirely new, thing. Exactly. What if they create the new Cynical Man? What if they become?
It does sound like a veteran thing to do, make another Cynical Man.
It's the perfect job.
Well, I know that when I was promoting it, you recognize veterans by their haircut, or some of them make it easy and they have the veteran hats, and this gentleman had a veteran hat on, and I went and I spoke to him and I wanted to let him know this was in New Baltimore, and I wanted to let him know that this class is going to be offered and that, and I told him you could do drawing or just anything you really wanted to experiment with. And the gentleman was so excited because he said, you know what? When I was a kid, I loved to draw and I really wanted to see where it would go. And I never had that opportunity. And this gentleman was retired in that. And we're able to give him that opportunity. He doesn't have to, there's no expense. The instruction is free. You get to do it around people that actually care, So, it's one of those things he could check off his bucket list, and say, you know what, I got to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's like so awesome. Even if it was only that one gentleman, that it would be worth what we're doing, that he gets to have that, that childhood dream fulfilled to see where he could take it. Yeah. So I think that's just totally awesome.
Who knows? In January we're doing a full exhibit for veteran art at our studio, and it's going to be incorporating a lot of the people or anybody that's that's willing or wants to show their art.
All right.
In a studio. They're going to have an actual gallery exhibit with a full reception and the whole nine
You
yards.
might not want an open bar.
Yeah, we learned that lesson.
Oh, where was my invite for that one?
Yeah.
Where's all the Jameson go?
That's a question you could have asked me about 3 years ago, and I'd have pointed at my stomach.
I'm glad those days are over for me.
Oh yeah, they were fun.
For sure.
They were fun, but it was too much fun.
Oh yeah.
That's the one thing. That
So you did say you got a bachelor's degree. What?
Yes.
May I ask what you study?
I studied human resource, specialized in training and development from Oakland University.
Okay, and
So it was basically a human service / human resource degree, both.
okay,
So it was a lot of the soft skills, group dynamics, developing designing training packages and stuff like that. I'll tell you how long ago it was that we had this program called Authorware, and it was developing a button for a training program, how to do the background information.
button like boop. That was easy.
No, the button on the screen that you couldn't do it. It wasn't a touch screen; those didn't even exist. A screen, a button that you could carry your cursor over and hit it with the mouse, and it would take you to the next page. That's how archaic it was at that time.
He's talking Windows 1905.
Yeah, probably. I'm a lot older than you guys. They didn't even have cell phones when I was in the military.
Yeah.
That stuff wasn't available. Phone calls were made through a GP medium or a tent, and it was reverse charges, on dials, so.
It's out on those old rotary phone days.
Yeah, that's true.
You have anything else you like to bring up?
No, I myself, I wish that as many vets as they even have a basic idea that something they want to experiment, just please come. Even if you try it once and you don't like it, at least you gave it a try. I like I say, it's a different environment. It's not like a lot of organizations that that are wrapped around alcohol and stuff like that. We're offering a constructive way.
May I suggest something?
Yes, sir.
A Facebook group as well.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can, allow other people, you could have one for students just students, but you could also have another one for those that can't attend. Because obviously this is a local to Port Huron
Right.
in Michigan. And right now you have people from all around the U.S., even a couple people not in the U.S. listening to this.
Okay.
Whether or not you consider Alaska the U.S., well, you can figure that on your own.
Right.
Hi, Oink. And but if you have that open Facebook, well, maybe not open, it could still be a closed group.
Right.
But you have a group that's open to other veterans that want to share their art and get critique or be a dick to the veterans, whatever. That's a possibility and something people can always play with. And I know there's pages out there already, and that's another way to expand with partnerships and find out other things. You never know where that may lead, because it's that business part. I'm going to point to you because you were talking about the business. Would you? I'm curious. Other than making your mama happy that you have a job,
Mama's boy.
well, it's just like, you need a job. I got something for you.
She offered me a job. I said, all right. I'm going to college, man. I just needed something part-time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And this is a great job doing something I love to do. So,
Well, hey, I want to thank you, gentlemen. I use that term loosely. I'm joking. Thank you for coming on the show. One more time, where do we find the information at?
you can find it at studio1219.com, or you can just call Studio 1219 itself. Our number is 810-984-2787.
And you'll most likely end up talking to Zach anyways.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10. It'll either be me or Lisa W.
And Rick, do you have your art anywhere online?
Just Facebook, on my Facebook account.
And it's a private Facebook account then?
Some of them are.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm still to the point that is it art? I don't know. It's fun.
You're still in that. Do I belong here? Do
That's
I do
right.
this? It's a very difficult stage, and it's not just artists that go through that. I mean, you said artists is it's all artists. Photographers go through that. I've met many photographers and other videographers go to events. We have that press pass, and they're like, I don't know if I should be wearing this press pass. Did you get it? Did you apply for it?
Right.
Yeah, I applied for it. Well, then you deserve it. Just don't be a dick.
Well, I think a thing that this class is going to offer, even though I took an art class and the instruction, I wasn't really able to use that. The teacher, Kathy, she kind of mentored me, and she's the one that encouraged me to apply to this show and to do something about art. And that's how I even came to the Studio 1219, is because of Kathy. So I mean, we might be able to inspire other veterans to do the same thing, to step out of that comfort zone. And who knows? I mean, here I am talking to you about art. I never thought I'd even do this, So, I mean, it's actually blown up quite big for me in a short period of time. And, and I think, if we're able to offer that.
To even one person.
Yeah, to one person, or just the networking. We all know that that's how you become successful is through networking, not what you know or it's who you know.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
whatever you might not be the best in your mind. Some people, but yeah, me starting as a writer, when I was in high school, I'd write stuff, and I noticed I was getting stuff published, and people around me were just so much better. I was like, they even knew all the words.
right?
and people get mad at me. I had a high school teacher mad at me. He was like, "You're in more books than I am." Like, well, I must submit myself to easier books than you, which I did, which I absolutely did. I mean, I was submitting myself to people that didn't turn anyone away. Believe me, I tried to get turned away because I was curious, and it just turned out like the biggest thing was I was doing it and they weren't.
Right.
And you see that. You see it less now that social media is around and things are more open and people see how you can be accepted into a community. But there are still those that, especially at physical shows, they're like, "Oh, I'm not good enough." It's like, just do it. Just do it.
Exactly. You're never going to get.
Yeah,
you're never going to get to the point that you want to
lose,
be.
and that's about it. Yeah, but it's remarkable though because you were a Marine. I mean, that you've gotten this far.
Yeah, I just after I'm done eating the crayon, I just spit out the color. It's all like pouring paint. Except for it's a little more personal.
I always say, you come out of the military, you can speak 2 languages, profanity and broken English. So, it's amazing that you're right.
That's inspiration and motivation. That's what it's all about.
And if anyone's motivated to share this, please do it. That helps out the podcast a lot. And of course, they can find this podcast, Media Layer Sandwich, on DV Radio every Tuesday night, or in the recorded form the following Monday. It's on Spotify, Stitcher, the iTunes podcast thing, the Google thing, and all the things, Podknife, Podbean, pretty much every podcast app. I know about 3 that we're not on. Now, if you find out which ones we're not on and you want us on them, talk to me and we could try to figure that out again. And we're also on YouTube, youtube.com youtube.com/Toaden, or just go to Toaden.com or MediaLiterSandwich.com. And if you want to participate in conversation, please do so. And we even have a couple groups on Facebook. There's the Facebook group for Media Layer Sandwich. There's the page. There's the Toaden page. There's the I Forgot to Press Record support group now. That's becoming a thing. And otherwise, just talk to us, thumbs up, subscribe, follow if you enjoy us. If you don't, still share to the people that would enjoy us or get something out of it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our discussion, and may the algorithms be in your favor.